It's got to cool off a little bit with crisps.
I need you to eat that bacon and then consider whether we have to hospital.
Yeah, why do we have homework this weekend? We have the hackathon. We can't do both.
A week. It's only Tuesday. So you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before the hackathon.
But we have to plan for the hackathon. Stuff like that. We got a specific email.
And your grad students.
Because we're grad students,
You should be tougher. And you should be tough.
Full-time jobs.
Actually, you know what I find out, Mike? I know you didn't like this, but SQL is Turing complete.
Full-time jobs and I'm here waiting to come to the hackathon, so.
The hackathon itself is
People make fun of us DBAs because of SQL. They're like, that's not a language. It's Turing complete.
Yeah, great experience.
Time and a half.
So you're proud.
All right, okay, here, honest question. Okay, so here's an honest question. This is on recording, so feel free to be honest, super honest. Okay, outside of Karan, who's already showed us his colors, if it wasn't required for the class, would you do the hackathon?
Yes, because I need help with
Yes.
Why?
Because I need help with programming.
Okay.
Because I'm only doing 3 years.
And you want the experience.
Yeah, and they have some undergrad experience.
Okay, who agrees with her?
Class time experience.
Everybody should agree with her.
Actually, I interviewed at Quad for an internship, and they have like quarterly hackathons for the company that they'll set up in their department.
Yep. You learn a lot in one day at these things that you can't get in a normal class.
I mean, if there was a decision between doing the hackathon or doing homework for the week, I would.
Well, yeah, but that's just student-based bribe. I mean, like,
How so?
so you're saying if you got to choose whether you could do a 12-hour hackathon or do homework, you would do the hackathon. You'd rather do the hackathon for the homework. The hackathon's fun enough, and at the same time, you don't.
It's not like fun enough. It's more like you get to work with other people.
Okay, you feel there's value to it.
Meeting up with other people because we all work all day.
I get it. So you feel there's value to it, but isn't there value in the homework you get in a normal class too?
I think I get just as me as what I prefer, how I prefer to learn. I learn more with others than by myself.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's the whole point of getting together for the hackathons.
Even though they suck, that's the whole point. Group projects, not hackathons.
I also picked the topic, so I have to be there.
Well, I mean, aren't even the assignments in here aren't? Do I set them up as like group projects?
Yeah,
You could all get together and work on this as a group.
we all work.
No,
Yeah.
like actual structured group projects, where you're like assigned teams and classes, and then you get the.
And hope you get a good programmer. Hope you get the. Yeah, so you hope you get the ringer and hope you don't get the waste of space.
I had someone in my group last semester for the hackathon read fan fiction and nap.
Which one was it? What do you look like?
One of the younger kids. Every time I see him, he's wearing the same flannel shirt.
Someone that goes here.
Yeah. But that's all. I don't know.
Back to the homework.
Let's get this done, and then I'm going to ask for suggestions on what we do next for our app, and then we can go from there. So it depends.
Let's add in
Authorization.
Yeah. You mean authentication? I guess authorization is technically not incorrect.
That's not what one of the people had.
Huh?
One of the guys had that on their screen today. They filled it on.
Oh, did it? All right. So let's get through this, and then perhaps there's a really low chance I'm not going to give you any homework, but perhaps I will give you a purposely easy assignment given the fact that you'll have to hackathon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This was supposed to be an easy assignment.
It should only take 10 hours instead of 12.
Yeah. What are you complaining about? All right. So well, hold on. Hold on, we're gonna find out here because I'm about to do the part of the assignment that you all thought was hard. Or was the first part what I just did the hard part?
No, that was easy. That
All right.
guy's done in an hour.
So we're gonna see if I bump into something that seemed like it was harder than it should have been. I'll admit it, but I don't expect. I expect the screen scraping to be identical to the other screen scraping. It was the same. Oh my gosh, people!
Pretty much.
All right, so I need to have my screen of buttons first. Is that the? I mean, you can design it however you wanted, but I kind of like created this screen that had. Oh, look at that! I had all these Januaries and Februaries.
Confused. I was like, what does it mean?
I spent 3 hours trying to figure out why do
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
Like, why are you only printing January and February?
Let me just copy and paste it.
He got lazy.
I guess. I don't know. I was
I put this up. I think I put it up right after class that night. So this is already like at 10:30 at night. While I was waiting for my video to upload.
I was assuming you were supposed to read between the lines.
Ha ha ha. Totally got to read between the lines. All right, so this is so I need to create another string. Oh yeah, I said I was going to organize, right? Let's see. So what are my options for organizing? They used to be called groups in in Eclipse. They were called groups. Just a way to organize our files here. Can I just do it as a resource directory? Oh no, it's resource types.
This is IntelliJ, right?
Yeah. I would have thought I could have just said like new.
Is it Maddie's friend?
No, it was just actually looking to see. It wasn't my roommate, but she said it might be some person named Nick Henge.
I don't see it there. Sample data directory.
I feel like go home and make bacon and eggs now. Just make me sad.
What did that even do? Oh, that's created this thing up there? That's weird.
Isn't that how a cutie gets students to come?
Yeah.
They bring bacon.
Yeah, they bring it grown.
They bring chocolate too.
And water.
And water.
Cute.
Is that what got you?
Sitting on my desk still. The motivation.
I have some bacteria.
Yeah. How do I organize this?
What?
Did they send you the link to pick out your activity here? Yeah, I haven't done anything with that.
I'll have to look it up between thing. I don't see anything for like creating a group or something like that. If I select a couple of these, can I like combine them into a group? We'll look it up. Let's just keep solving this first. All right, so I'm creating. Shut up! All right, so I'm gonna create a screen for my my buttony thing, and this is gonna be.
Were you able to figure out the grouping?
No, I'm just gonna look at that over next break. I'll just Google it rather than wasting time now. All right, so we need to have a screen like this. So I'll click like a direct flights for month thing, and that'll take me to this screen. So and this is going to be a select month activity. Yeah, good enough. Right click, new, empty activity. Oh, here's this folder thing. Yeah, I bet you it's going to be one of these, maybe like a raw resource folder in Java, but I'm not going to screw with it right now. Just threw me off because it's in Android, but whatever. So I'm going to create an empty activity. And we're going to call this guy, what did I say? Month select activity. All right, so that's this guy. And he looks like this, and then I'll do my vertical linear layout thing. So I'm going to convert view to linear layout. Apply. I'll make this a vertical linear layout. All right, so now I want to have a screen that has all my my buttons on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a layout in. Relax. Layouts. Horizontal linear layout. Put that guy in there. And then I'll put 2 buttons inside. Why is this not dragging? Put 2 buttons out here. There's 1 button. There's 2 buttons. So that's like for my months. And then I'll set the height for this guy to wrap content. All right, and then so that's what, January, February, so I need 6 of those. You're asking me about what? I just did. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, and all of these guys should have a height set to wrap content like that. And then this is Jan.
I think I might have figured it out.
May. Well, we'll look at that after we do this. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All right, so that's our buttons. And then if we wanted to look centered on the screen, we'll just set the gravity on this guy to center. So something like that, whatever. It looks awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and this is going to be awesome. So I'm going to write a single function for all 12 of these buttons instead of 12 functions. See, this is how students should be. They get excited. It's like, oh yeah, I was hoping for that. It's like, I didn't count on. I do like bacon.
4 of my 6 hours is right there. I'm trying to figure out one function for this.
Oh, really? I don't think it was going to take me 4 hours. Because you'll be staying late then if it does.
I told my students there's a reason I have the spinny chair. There's a reason you have the spinny chair.
My chair only spins so much. See, look at. Huh? Yeah. All right. So let me go into just this month select. All right. So first, I'm going to write a function here. So we're going to call it public month, public void month button pressed. This guy's going to take a view v as a parameter. Now this view, that guy is the guy that was clicked to send us here. So I'm going to say button b is equal to the button version of v. All right, so whatever button we clicked, that's going to call this guy, it's going to come in as button B here. Now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna go back out here. I'm gonna select all of my buttons. Got all of them. And then I'm gonna go to, where's my on click? Do that. So that should set the on click for all of them now. Just make sure it did that since it acted kind of funny. That's right. That's right. Okay, so they all have that on click now. All right. So then I'll come back into here, and just for testing purposes, I'll go ahead and system.out.println. I'll put a couple asterisks here, and I'll concatenate onto that b dot, is it get title? B dot, is it name? So that sets the text. I want to get the text from that guy. There it is, just get text. All right, and do we already have somebody taking us to the screen? No, we have to add the button to get us to the screen, right? So that's back. Go back here. So it's before this, right? So I click on an airport. So it's on this screen?
That screen should be the month screen.
Okay, so I should have a button that says take me to the month?
Yeah. There should be a button. That says
Okay, gotcha. And this screen is called list.
That's the airport list activity.
I need an assistant. Airport list, this one?
Yeah, that one.
Nope.
Ah, darn it. Detail.
Detail.
All right, nailed it. So select month. And this is airport detail, screeny, dealy flippy. But up here, right? On select month button pressed. We'll create an intent I is equal to new intent this, and then we pass it, what's the name of my screen? Month select activity.class this dot start activity activity I, and then we'll go hook that guy up. Okay. So now it takes me to that screen, and then when I click any of those buttons, it's going to print out the text that's on that button. I'm going to use that text to determine what the month was. Hercules! Hercules! So good. That's good.
I just threw up in my mouth.
Did you? Do you even know what movie that's from?
If I heard you correctly, but I don't know.
Hercules. Hercules.
Oh.
It's an old Eddie Murphy movie.
It's definitely my most favorite movie.
Where he played like every single character. It was like when it used to be
Yeah.
funny, and now that Medea mimics it, but it's not as good. Although I actually think those movies are better than they should be.
That's not heard.
Yeah, I mean they're horrible movies, but they're funny.
I love them.
Yeah. Okay, what am I doing? This one. So I go to airport list. I pick a starting airport. Then I select month. It takes me here. And let me open up my logcat and filter here. I'll just clear this for right now. So there's Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So there's all of our names of our months based on what we click on. All right, so when we click on one of these, we want it to take us to another screen that's going to show us from that point forward did I say you just have to show once, or it should be able to keep clicking? Keep clicking, okay. So it's gonna show me the airports moving forward, but not using cache. Correct? Okay. So what I want to do here is I am going to look at my airport destination thread just to get my URL. So this is how Maddie should have answered her question that she put in there. What was the name of the URL? Remember that guy?
I threw in Slack, I threw in the month query string.
Well, I'm gonna bring it up now anyways. Flights from. All right, so I'll go ahead and just type in a city to do it. And then I'm going to say, show me destination. So this is our normal link, right? Okay, but I'm going to choose what do destination month. So I'm just going to choose May for no good reason, just to see the URL. All right, so we'll assume that it's this year. I'm going to pull this into here just so we can look at it. I'm going to make it not blue as soon as I can figure out how to do that. All right, now the duration from 45, didn't we look at that last time? Huh?
You do not need it.
Right, but what was the 45?
It's the amount of minutes the flight takes.
So if you want a 45-minute flight or less.
Oh, right. So we wanted all flights. So really what we need is, can I
Directions, question mark, and then.
right, can I unlink this? Yeah, none. There we go. Now I should be able to highlight and change parts of it, right? No. I want you to not be a link. All right. I'm not using that. I refuse.
Except when they're as little as mine.
Yeah, so we're going to look at on here. We're going to format this guy as make plain text. Okay. And we're going to make this guy a lot bigger. And we don't need the duration guy. Here's what you're saying. We don't need this and. So date method is month. And then we have a date from. And we're going to assume it's always 2019 for our current thing. And then the month number and the first. and then the month number to the end. So we need the last date in those months. Okay. So, oh, this is going to be a fun parallel array thing. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is going to be our actual string. I'm just going to keep it whole for right now. You'll see how we use this guy. I'm lost. Where's my button? Where's my button world? Is this button? All right. I like legitimately can't read any of this text. It's so sad. All right.
Would you still not be able to read it if you had your glasses?
I could probably read with my glasses because they have trifocals. Yeah. I blew out my eyes when I was using CRT monitors. I was programming when I was 9. You spend 16 hours a day in front of a computer when you're 9. When you're developing, your eyes are messed up.
So why don't you go back to the glasses?
Because I like the context. It lets me do VR more easily.
So just wear them when you want to do VR.
And they're good for golf. I can see a lot. My distance vision is way
Are you
better.
in VR every day?
Yeah. And I golf every day, especially during the summer. Plus, I can wear cool kid sunglasses instead of having like the prescription sunglasses where you have to wear like the flippy things or have normal glasses that turn dark. Now I have like awesome sunglasses. People think I'm cool.
I would
I
rather
don't hard hat.
Do you?
have sunglasses over my glasses.
Okay.
But I can't find clip-ons that are tall enough, so I just buy like cataracts ones.
Oh, they're the ones that wrap it all the way. My wife wears those. My wife wears those because she likes the full coverage. It gets-
It's really nice. John actually took a picture once, but his phone wasn't connected to the internet. He was gonna send it to you guys in the Slack channel.
Yeah.
I'll probably send it.
So what was your question?
What I don't understand is why do you have to wear contacts in VR? Because it's like right there, but like everything is still blurry if you're not wearing it.
It's like a microscope.
Well, because my focusing muscles in my eyes are my eyes are actually healthy. It's my focusing muscles in my eyes that got burned out from. You've ever seen a monitor on a video camera where you see the refresh rate?
Yeah.
So inside of a
I mean, my eyes like focus in too, and my contacts is like what makes it go out.
yeah, I don't know. I can't get it clear inside of VR with
Yeah, I can't either. I don't like that. Doesn't make sense.
so with contacts it's great.
I know, but like like you say, don't you watch VR right before you go to bed or something like that? So you're like laying there, and if I'm all ready for bed, I'm gonna have my contacts out, but I can't if I'm gonna be watching
You're right. Yeah, so it's not a problem. I don't need to be able to see up close.
VR.
No, like right now.
No, but you put the headset on and you can't see if you don't have your contacts in.
Well, whenever I'm in VR, I always have my contacts in.
But I'm saying if you're doing that right before bed.
I usually just don't do it right before I'm actually in bed. But I get what you're saying. I mean, I always have my contacts in when I'm doing VR. So if it was after I took my contacts out, I wouldn't do VR unless it was for like a quick debugging thing or something where, I mean, technically glasses will fit in there. It's just they get smushed up on your face and stuff. Plus, it's just with my cool sunglasses, I can't go back to regular glasses. The envy on the golf course. Got my sunglasses on. I got my posture corrector.
Pink hat.
Huh?
Pink hat.
Pink hat? I'm gonna wear that on the golf course too.
Yeah. Oh, it could protect you from
Why is this flickering so much?
Have you never seen that? This is like normal.
Black foot.
And we're back. That's why humans go to chiropractors. So they just need a rib put back in. All right. So we need to map. So we have a couple things we need to map here. We need to map we need to build these strings is what we need to do, right? We can assume we have 2019. We need to get the month number from our string. And then we also need to be able to get the I mean, the first day of every month will always be a 1, so we're good on that one. But we're going to need to have our month number for the the last day of the month for all other ones, right? All right, so we're going to do this.
I think it'll run the query if you just leave it as if you want it on the website.
Oh, so 31 will it'll just figure out that there's no more days than that.
I think so.
That's not as fun to write the code for it.
Okay, good thoughts.
Yeah.
This is just going to be a switch statement anyway, isn't it?
I'm actually gonna do it with parallel arrays because they're fun. Okay. So parallel arrays are like it's like I want to store multiple things 101. It's like the easiest way to do it. So here, so I'm gonna say for my months, month numbers is gonna equal, and this is gonna be an int array. All right, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So those are all my months. Then I'm going to have an int month last days. And this is going to be equal to, so we have 31, 28, 31, 30, 31, and then here, we can just steal those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I off by one? So January has 31 days, February is 28, March has 31, April is 30, June, July, August, September, October, November. Doesn't December have 31 days? Which one am I skipping here?
July is 31 and August is 31, I think.
Yeah. July and
I thought they alternated.
They do,
No.
but it there's
Those are the special cases?
Yeah.
So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, then September is, yeah, so this is right, like this?
No,
No, 30.
30 for September.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July.
Isn't December 31 days?
Yeah.
You have it.
You mistake the June one or 31.
Okay, so January, February,
Correct.
March, April, May,
Yeah.
June,
June 30.
July 31,
Yep. Then 31.
August 31,
Yeah.
September 30, October.
November only has 30.
Okay, and then December is 31. So I have 12. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ha ha! All right, so those are those guys. Now I'm going to say string array. Months is equal to, and what I'm actually going to do here, just because I don't want to have to type them all out. Well, yeah, that. So where's my logcat? So Jan, Feb, March, so I need to make sure I match up to what I have down there. So Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, Sept. Why did I spell out August? It seemed like that should have been AUG. Oct. No, this. So Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, Sept, Oct, Nov, Devs. Okay. So that'll get me that array. So I just split it on commas. So then I have my button text, which will be v.getText.toString. And then I'm going to search through here to find I'm going to search through months looking for a match on button text. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than months.length I plus plus if months at bucket I dot equals button text. So if I'm looking at a match there, then my month number will be at the same position in month numbers, and my month last days will be at the same position in month last days. So I have pos as I. So I'll go ahead and I guess we can create our intent here since we're going to do it on the next screen. So I'll go ahead and say intent.
Quick tangent.
Huh?
Going back to our discussion in hour one, it lasted way too long, but I enjoyed. So you're casting V to a button because view is a parent of the button object. Is that how that works?
Yeah. Pretty good. Start this guy off at -1. Int month last day is equal to -1. Then I'll go ahead and set month num equal to month numbers at bucket I. And I'll say month last day is equal to month last days at bucket I. Then I'll go ahead and break because I found my match and I have those two variables set now. And now I'm going to create my intent. Intent I is equal to new intent. And where am I going with this? I'm going to month what's it called? List. Well, I don't want it to be in my cache, so we're probably going to create a second screen specifically for this to have you be able to click through screen to screen to screen. Otherwise, it's going to check cache.
I just had a screen with another list.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Do I want to do it with some of these are stuck together.
Oh well.
I just want to use one screen. Yeah, this will be good. We're going to dual purpose that screen. It's going to be awesome. All right. So, what's the name of that screen? What's the screen? What's this one called? Detail?
Yes.
But I don't want to have select month on it. Nope.
Or you can just highlight it, right?
Nope. I'm using the same screen. It's gonna be awesome.
Everything's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you some cool ways because really this screen does exactly what we want it to do, right?
Except it has 3 buttons on it that we don't need.
Right. But I can hide these buttons.
That's what I just said, and you said no.
Well, you said edit it.
No, I said hide it.
Oh yeah, I was listening to you.
Again,
But let me think about this though. So this guy by default is checking for cache. All right. So what's the name of the screen? This is list detail. This comma is the context, and then airport detail activity dot class. All right, so now I'm going to add some extras to this. I'm going to put extra. We're going to call this guy month num. And we're going to give this guy the value month num.
You should probably put the zeros preceding your month num single digits up at the top because it's a 2-digit format for the website. So it's 0, 1 for January.
Okay. Oh, yeah, let's make everything strings while we're at it. Okay, so I'll put extra month num. I'll put extra month last day. So I'm adding things to my intent that I can use on the next screen. Put extra, we probably could just operate off of we could operate off of those, but I want to be more explicit. So I'm going to say should cache. We're going to set this guy equal to true. And then the other situations where I'm calling that screen, I'm going to say, actually, this is going to be false. I'm going to say should cache is equal to true on the other screens. Should cache is equal to false on this screen. I'll show you how I'm going to use that in a second. Okay, so I'm creating my intent. I'm going to tag 3 pieces of information onto this intent. All right, those 3 pieces of information are going to be the month num I figured out here, the month last day I figured out here, and then whether or not I should cache. So in this case, since I'm doing a special per month type thing, I'm going to specifically say I do not want to look at cache on the next screen. All right, so I'm going to have to build that into my logic on that list detail screen. So I'll go ahead and say this dot find view by ID. No, that's not what I do here. I do this dot start activity. So it'll start that activity up. All right, now what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to steal this stuff. And I want to go back to my list screen, which is called airport list. This guy. Here's my set item click. All right, so I'm getting an airport code and a city name. So I'm gonna need to get that same information, right? All right, so I'll get it onto the screen, so I'll pass it on. So I'm gonna add a couple of more extras into this guy so I have them. I'm just gonna steal these extras. So I have the airport code, I have the city name. Now I'm going to put in, for month num, I'll just put an empty string. For month last day, I'll put an empty string just so they have values there. They won't come back as null. Should cache, I'm going to say is true. So if my source was from here, I'm going to use cache. It's going to work the way it's going to currently work. I'll set that other screen up to work this way. But if my source was from my month thing, I'm specifically going to say caching should be false. I am still going to need my airport code and my city name. So this stuff came from, do I have it? Where did we get selected airport from? Is that a core thing?
Selected airports kind of come in this view. So,
Ah, it's right here. This is from the filtered airports, get position. So that's in the intent there. That's fine. So then what I need to do is I need to pass those two things on. You'll see what's going on here. Because remember, if I'm on this screen, this is a screen, well, I gotta go back again. Okay, so this is my airport list. So when I click on this screen, I'm passing right now 5 pieces of information across. I'm saying, here is my airport code, here's my airport city, here's my month number, which is empty string right now, just defaulting it to the empty string. Here's my month number, last day or something like that, which is also the empty string. And then my should cache is true. That's all the information I'm passing to this next screen. So now I'm here. If I just start doing what I was doing to begin with here, then I'm never going to be selecting a month. All right. But if I say select month, I'm effectively saying I want to keep the airport code I just selected and the airport city name, but I want to go off on a new tangent. Okay. I want to go off on a tangent where after I select my month, I'm now not dealing with caches. I'm still dealing with Milwaukee. I'm still dealing with MKE as my airport code. So I have those pieces of information, but now I'm going to tack on something other than empty strings for my, my other thing. Now the issue is going to be until I hit select month, this guy's got to be in this normal mode. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to hide buttons and stuff. But the very first time through, since I'm making it's kind of like a choose your own adventure here. So when I come to the screen the very first time, I can either just start my itinerary by clicking, right?
Yeah.
Or I can say I want to go and select month.
Well, not necessarily hide buttons, but like in Visual Studio, you did like applications for the department. I did a voice rec one, and I could write it where my initial screen when it popped up, like the voice recognition was disabled, and you had to enable it, and then you could go back and forth and disable or enable the button. So like when I open my screen, if you start talking to it, it wouldn't work. It was just a normal screen. You had to enable the button before.
Oh, I see. Yeah. We can do that. I mean, I'd rather it kind of be automated. At this point, I haven't really chosen which direction I'm going. Am I going to utilize? So you're kind of saying be able to enable the select month thing and just be able to say, well, now I'm choosing to go into select month.
Yeah, like if you could put in, I don't know how you would do it, but it's like clicking on the select month would effectively enable it to start working.
We could certainly do that. But I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave this as options initially, because right now it can go either way, right? It's touch and go right now. I can either do a normal itinerary like I've done all up to this point, or I can say I want to be more specific about how I'm starting my itinerary thing. And at that point, I'm going into a, I guess, a cache-less situation, right? Now, since we're here, Milwaukee's already cached. So if I select month, and that's going to take me that X string, I can change. So here's the dilemma. The dilemma is this. If I'm on this screen and I have now committed, I'm going to do an itinerary, and I click on Atlanta, I probably don't want to have these options, right? I at least want to lose the select month option. I've already made the commitment to go in one level, right? Now, if I'm back on this screen and I say select month, at that point in time, when I get to, well, at that point in time, from every screen forward after I select my month, I should not have this button.
Can you make an extra call it mode?
I'm going to do like is first or something like that, but it's effectively the same thing.
Yeah. And then, on your own create, you can start enabling or hiding.
Yeah. So this airport list activity, this is always the source for the potential beginning of an itinerary, right? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw another put extra in here, and we're going to name this guy maybe is first. I'm going to call this true here, and then I'll flip it to false for all the rest of them. So we'll always be able to ask the question, if is first is true, show all the buttons. Otherwise, don't show any of the buttons, or don't show the choose month button. Actually, maybe we should do this. Show, let's just be explicit with it. Show month button. First time through, true. Then we'll flip it to false after that. Okay, you'll see how I do that.
Is there a reason that this is a more beneficial?
Well, I mean, because we already have a screen that basically does what we need it to do. So I'm just reusing that screen. It would be easier to just have a separate screen. But the ultimate logic is going to end up being the same. I mean, if you really want, we can go. If you want, we can go and do the screen doing it the way we're currently doing it, and then, which is probably the way I would have expected you to do for the homework, and then come back and do this more advanced way. Would you prefer that?
It doesn't matter either way. I just didn't know if there was a benefit to doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the benefit would be is we're reusing a screen, but I suppose you can make the argument that given that we are hiding some things here, we actually might want this other screen to work a little differently.
Because then my next question is, if you try to do too much on the one screen, will it crash your app, or will it take forever to do it because you're trying to fit so much that could function on it, or will it not matter because the functions are kind of?
I think you probably can make an argument either way. I think you could decide that, okay, we want a screen here that does show all the direct flights from an airport. We already have a screen that does that. But we kind of need this idea where if I am not using cache, I want this button to be gone. If I am not selecting the month anymore, I want this button to be gone. Well, if we hit select month, we could, you know what we actually could do? You could put another screen in between here. So there's multiple ways you could have gone about doing this. You could have said after you select an airport, you could just choose any month or choose month, something like that. Or even give them the month choice and then have one of the options be any month. So we could actually show them this screen automatically. As soon as they select Milwaukee or the source airport, we could show them this screen and maybe have a top button that covers all the way across. It just says any month. And when we hit the any month one, it functions the way our app has functioned all along. But if we hit one of the specific months, then it's going to show us airport codes for a very specific month. That actually might be the most logical solution. Because then you're saying, where are you starting your itinerary from? Let's say Milwaukee. Then they're saying, okay, do you have a particular month in mind, or you just want us to show you kind of in general where these places go? And you're just making that decision, so it's all part of that process.
Now, are you changing the scope though? Because in the homework homework scope, we weren't making an itinerary off of the month.
Correct. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking big picture, like how the app could work. Yeah.
So you're thinking user flow, which I agree with.
So let's do this. Let's solve this the easy way for the homework, and then let's circle back and let's actually interject this guy in the middle for our choice.
Can you
So
commit both ways?
I'm going to end up doing it both ways.
Well, can you commit and to get both?
No.
Please?
Huh?
If you commit to the person,
Well, I'll have a note next to the commit so you can look at rollbacks.
yeah.
I searched through the commit history. And I'm going
All right.
So if you wrote it with like the like that with the middle screen, would it just jump back to the previous screen once they select it? Like you read that previous screen?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So let me do this. So we haven't gone down a horrible path here yet. Okay. Right now we're just tagging on some extras. So I'm just going to leave those extras in there for right now. We're not actually going to use them yet. Okay. We're going to kind of solve the homework in like the simple way. Just create a second screen just to see the two worlds. Then we'll circle back and we'll kind of fix our flow here a little bit for maybe a more robust app. Okay, so if they start from here, we're going to have them actually go to a completely different screen for right now. So I'm going to make that a fairly temporary. Let's not make it temporary just in case that's the route we go. So I'm going to create a new activity. It's going to be an empty activity. All right, we're going to call this guy
called my airport month activity.
maybe airport month detail activity, since that it kind of lines up to the other one. So airport month detail activity. All right, and this guy's going to be almost identical to that other one without some buttons, right? So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to, where's my airport? Do I have that in here? So I'm going to go into layout, and this is my airport detail screen.
That's what it's for mine.
Yeah, so I want it to almost be this identical screen. So what I'm going to do is, so instead of the button, so I'm just going to grab this and this. And I'm going to copy those. I think it'll let me copy across. Yeah, let's find out. So I highlighted those two things I want. I hit Command C, and then I'll go into my airport month detail, this guy. And first, I'll change this guy to something awesome. Convert view, linear layout. And I'll make the linear layout a vertical one. And I'll highlight that, hit Control V, and there's my two guys there. This is my destination list view. All right, so we're pretty much going to have this guy operate like other detail screen, with the exception that it's doing a search based on the month. Now, I'm still going to use a single thread. Okay, so I'm going to modify our thread the way I intended you to do it on the homework assignment, even though you could have created a separate thread. The idea here is what if I go back to my screen in here, whether I've selected a month or not, this information in here is identical. Right? The format is identical. So I don't need to change the way I'm screen scraping. All I need to do is change the URL from which I'm screen scraping. Okay? Right now I have a URL that's taking in an airport code. Now I also want to pass it potentially a URL that takes in the month mode, and then start, and then the start month and the end month. That thing. Those two extra pieces of information, three extra pieces of information. Now realistically, I'm guessing. I just want to test something here to make this even easier. So we could say. So we could take this stuff out, right? Now, I'm going to say, what if I said 1/1/19 to 12/31/19? Will that effectively give me my original list? Does this show me all direct flights during the entire year of 2019? from that destination? I think it will. Okay, so actually I'm going to steal this string here because I'm going to use that date as the default date unless I pass it better dates. That make sense? Okay, so I'm going to in here. Let me go ahead and doctor up my.
You could compare a kettle. You could load up. You could make the URL calls both ways and then just count the linked list elements.
Or you could just do it from that page.
Yeah, I'm just doing it in a single thing.
No,
So
but
here's
I
my.
mean, like to make sure that it's actually
He's
the
talking
same.
about verify.
Verify that that's actually the case.
Oh, it looked pretty clear. I
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I, as long as we're assuming the same year,
Yeah.
you know, I think we might get a little sketch if we're trying to give the level of granularity where we wrap a year, wrap it in the next year. But if we're just saying whatever the current year is, I want all potential flights during this whole year versus a very targeted month. Those are our two options. I think we're fine here. So this is our current airport destination thread. So this is the guy we're going to make a little bit more stretchy. All right, so this guy here is taking in an airport code currently that we are interjecting into our string in here. But what I want him to do is he's now going to take in, I'm actually going to update this string first of all. So I'm just going to create a string URL string, and I'll set this guy like this right now. All right, so I want this to be my airport code, right? So I'm going to replace that guy. And then we'll go ahead and just leave the date method can always be month. We never have to change it away from month. Just our default thing is show me for all the months, as opposed to me putting in different dates. So you'll see what I'm going to do here. This is going to be actually pretty slick, I think.
Does Java have the ability that you could put like placeholders in, like variables?
You can, yeah. So you can do, is it a formatted string? Here, I'll show it to you right now since we're doing some awesome stuff. Oh yeah, I've just started doing it a harder way. You're going to see how trivial it's going to be. I'm actually going to use that exact same thread with a little tiny change, and it's going to work. All right, so I'm going to come in here to string, and I think we have a constructor for a string that lets me take in a placeholder. Otherwise, we can just do concatenation. I think it's like a string formatter. Yeah, static string format. Okay, here, I'll show you how to do it.
That'd be kind of slick to set it up that way as opposed to concatenating.
So string.format this, and then we're going to pass it this dot airport code, and then we're going to end up passing a couple other things too, but I'll just start it at that. So then right here, it's going to be, I'm assuming it's a %s. Let me see if I can confirm that. That's how it is in C and C++.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Linux. It's how Bash works, which is based on C.
That's string. So what's my character type? Embedded format specifiers. Oh, here we go, conversion. Yeah, so S is for a string, D is for an integer. Yeah, it's basically the same as, these are all our little placeholders. We can have floating points, date, time, stuff like that. It's always a percent before it, right? Does it work just like printf? Actually, it looks like it's a dollar sign before it, not a percent sign.
I think you were correct.
Yeah, it's a percent. All right, so it's the same as printf then. So we'll have a percent %s for a placeholder for a string. We'll have that guy will stay. I'm going to steal these strings here. So we're going to say private string. What's that first one? Cur.
From date.
Yeah, cur date from. And we'll set that equal to that guy. And then we have a cur date to.
So are you planning on building up those strings?
Yeah. And that's this guy. So cur date from, cur date to. So those will be our default ones. So then I can come in here and for cur date from, I'll say %s placeholder, cur date to. This is a %s placeholder. So my first placeholder was the airport code. The second placeholder was cur date from. This dot cur date from. My third placeholder was this dot cur date to. So that gives me a formatted string without having the crazy concatenation stuff. And then I can go ahead and do my airport code. And so actually this guy is going to be my URL string. So I'll change this to URL string. All right, so let's just make sure that our code currently works now. I haven't changed my constructor at all. I still just pass in a airport code, right? I'm going ahead and purposely saying for the entire year is my cur date from and cur date to. That's hard coded in there. All right, so we just want to make sure this guy still works the way it currently works. And it should, unless I did the format thing wrong. Airport list, I'll filter on Milwaukee, click on that. Okay, so this guy's doing what he's supposed to do. Actually, to confirm this, we need to pick something. Where haven't we gone? Philadelphia? Otherwise, we didn't use the thread. If it read it from cache, we didn't use the thread. So this is using the thread this time. So making sure it pops up. Yeah. Who's going to Guadalajara? All right, so it still works. Now, here comes the magic sauce. Well, because we took that little detour to do but now I'm going to still go back and do that with a better flow. So I'm going to create a second constructor here. Public airport here. I'm just going to actually steal this guy. Okay, so I have a second constructor, but this guy is going to take in, now we're assuming we're always 2019 here, so this guy is going to take in a month number and a month end date. We actually probably could have done the mapping to the month end inside here, but we didn't, whatever. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and call our parents constructor that sets all this other stuff up, passing it our airport code, passing it our destination strings, passing it our, what did I call my, yeah, passing it AA.
So the parents just whatever.
Airport code, destination strings, AA.
Parent would be just the first constructor inside of the class.
What, super?
Yeah, so you're saying.
Yeah. This
just
guy.
Whatever you make the first one is going to be the parent. Sounded the virtual machine.
Right. Well, no, you'll see how I'm going to use it. This is just saying if I call this version of the constructor, I want to pass this stuff to it. What is he upset about? Oh, it's not super, it's this. I'm calling my other constructor here. So I have an extra special constructor that takes 2 extra pieces of information, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and call the other constructor to set up all the default stuff. Then I'm going to modify my cur date from and cur date to strings to be correct based on my month num and month end. So I'm going to say this dot cur date from is going to be equal to, we'll just assume 2019 right now, dash, and then this guy is going to be our, so I'll just do some concatenation stuff. So our month num, right? So month num concatenated with a dash 01. So that's what my cur date from will become. My cur date, this dot cur date 2 will become 2019 dash concatenated with month num concatenated with dash concatenated with month end for the last day of that month. Okay, so if I use this second version of the constructor, which I'll do for my special, my second screen for showing these lists, I'll call this version the constructor with the extra 2 parameters. He'll go ahead and build a normal one of these, then go ahead and modify my cur date from and cur date to, which then will just make this guy work without any changes. That make sense? So I wrote this guy to be generic for all months or a specific month because it's operating off of these 2 variables right here. And I just changed those variables in this version of the constructor. All right, so then all I need to do is go into my airport list, airport detail activity, this guy. Except I have airport month detail activity, so let me steal stuff from this guy. So I'll go ahead and grab, I can just grab, well, just do it in little chunks. So I'll grab all my private variables and I'll dump what I don't need. All right, and then I'm going to have my, go ahead and give myself access to this. I'll just copy all this and then I'll just take out the stuff I don't need since that'll be more efficient because we're not going to check cache at all on this guy. We're just going to assume everything is, we need the thread for it. Okay, so we went ahead and Except this guy is an airport month detail activity, not an airport detail activity. Okay, we'll still have our linked lists of stuff that we need to fill up. We still have our, we're not going to have our airport code cache, so I'll just dump that. We're still going to need our array adapter for our list view. We went ahead and set ourselves up here, set the content view. This guy's fine, this guy is fine. So these are our list views for these two things. Now actually I think, let's make sure in our detail screen, so airport month detail, this guy is called airport TV2 and this guy is called destination LV. And I copied it in here, airport TV2 and destination LV. Just happened to be because I copied it, it added a 2 to the end of that text view. So I just need to make sure I'm grabbing the right stuff for my interface here.
So can you grab, like, if you have like an activity variable that wasn't this, the point somewhere else, you could like come up with the other instance, other activity instances?
Only if it currently exists on your activity stack.
Okay.
So if you're saying, if you have another view,
An instantiated view.
yeah, you can.
Okay.
In fact, we've done it. We've had, I think at some point, didn't we reload the list view on a screen before us? So that when we went back to it, we had, you know, it was already updated. No. It was when we were like adding credit cards or adding adding loyalty programs. When we edited one, we updated it on the previous screen before we went back to that previous screen.
See, actually, I put mine into the singleton, so I just.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, I don't know.
But yeah, as long as it exists, you have access to it. Yeah, but if it's an activity that hasn't been instantiated yet, you can't do that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I just put the reference, I think, put the adapter in my singleton, so I'd be like, oh, okay. I don't have to worry about finding it by some.
Okay, so we have those things. Here's our brand new fresh linked list. Here's our brand new array adapter with a simple row and our linked list. We'll go ahead and set the adapter. We have our click listener, except we are going to change this click listener just a little bit because we're not going to an airport detail activity. Instead, we're going to an airport month detail activity. When we click on something on the screen. All right. We'll put the airport code. That's fine. That's all we needed from that guy. So we just need to make sure we set it up right coming into the screen. So we have our airport code. We have our city name. Are we still doing itineraries with this? Was that part of the assignment? So itineraries were not going to be impacted by this. All right, so we'll take that out. We can always put it back in, but we won't mess with itineraries. And we will start that activity. So that means that in order for this guy to work, we need where am I setting? Here. So we're getting a city name extra and we're getting an airport code extra. We need those two pieces of information in order for this screen to work. And we should have those two pieces of information from our first page. But we need to make sure we are sending that into our activity. So let me go back to my airport list activity. Here's those two pieces of information that we're passing along. But that's if we click on one of those airports, which takes us to the airport detail screen, right? So now we have those two pieces of information. And it's called city name and airport code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both of these guys global. So I have access to them down in the on select button pressed. So I can pass them on. Because these are local variables inside of on create. I want to have access to city name and to the airport code in case they hit that choose the month button. So that down here I have access to those couple of variables. I'll just make city name and airport code global variables. And so I could take here, take redefine it there. And I'll take airport code. Make that a global variable. Okay, so now they're global. I have access to them throughout this class. I'm still setting the values of those inside of here. And the values are, we're grabbing it from our intents extra, just like we were doing before. But now what I can do, let me, city name and airport code. And that's coming from our list screen, airport list activity. So that's these two lines right here. So inside of airport detail activity, if we happen to choose the on select month button, we want to tack on to that intent those two extras, the city name and the airport code. That way we have access to them inside of our month select activity. So we can still populate that guy. All right, and then what I will, actually, we're okay. So now I'll come into my airport month detail activity, and this is where we grab those two pieces of information. So this is in my month detail screen. He's just grabbing from the intent the airport code and the city name that was passed along from the previous screen. All right, so now I have those guys. This is just me cleaning up the airport code. I'm not going to do any cache stuff here. But what I'll go ahead and do, and remember the cache had the fallback. So inside of my cache is where I was saying, hey, I can't find it in the cache, so I need to go ahead and look it up. So we're going to go ahead and just look it up in here. We can steal the code from our cache, but really we're just going to create an instance of our airport destination thread, this guy. But we're going to pass, we're going to actually call this version of it. Actually, hold on. Are we on the detail screen already? We are. Okay, so we're going to call that version of it where we need these extra pieces of information. And where did we get those extra pieces of information? Here's my airport, here's my month select activity. So back here in my airport detail, let's just follow the, if I click this button for select month button pressed, this is taking me to that screen with 12 buttons on it for all my months. I'm tacking on these couple of extras. So I'm going to need to pull them out in there because I'm going to tack them on to the next activity. So that's on my month select activity. I'm just going to steal these couple of things so I have the names of the strings. All right, so once I get into here, inside of onCreate, I'll go ahead and get my, so I need private string airport code, private string city name. Then I'll say this dot airport code is equal to this dot get intent dot get string extra, and the name of that extra is airport code. Similarly, this dot city name is equal to this dot get intent dot get string extra, and I'm getting the city name. All right, so now I have those two pieces of information. And let me actually, just gonna steal that again there so I have them. So now when we hit our month button pressed, we're ultimately creating a new intent. We're passing it the month number. We're passing it the month last day. We can go ahead and forget about this should cache thing for right now. That was when we were trying to use one screen to serve both purposes. Now we're going to a completely different screen. It's no longer airport detail activity. This is now airport month detail activity. The new kind of guy, right? The guy we just created. And he's going to have a month num, a last day, and then these two pieces of information. So we're going to still pass the city name, still pass the airport code. We have two additional pieces of information. Just so happens that our thread takes in two additional pieces of information for one of its constructors now, right? Okay, so now we have these four guys. I'm actually just going to steal this so I have access to my strings. So then inside of airport month detail activity, I'm already getting the city name and the airport code. I'm going to go ahead and give myself the city name and airport code globally here as well, because I want to have access to all of those. So I'm going to give it for all four of these. So city name, airport code, and then what were my like start and month num, month last day. So I'll have four variables there that I can set inside here. So this is this dot city name is equal to that. This is this dot airport code is equal to that. And I will go ahead and I'll just paste these in real quick. I'll say this dot month last day is equal to this dot get intent dot get string extra named name month last day, and then month num, this dot month num is equal to this dot get intent get string extra month num. All right, so I'll grab those four pieces of information. So now I have all the information I need for jumping to the next screen from this guy. All right, now this is where we used to do the caching. We're not caching anymore. We are setting our text here for our city name and our airport code. So now we need to create an instance of our airport destination thread. So we're going to say airport destination thread ADT is equal to a new airport destination thread. And we're going to call the second constructor we wrote, this one, that takes in an airport code, a month num, a month end. Let's just start with those three. Otherwise, I'll have to come back and check anyways. So this is a this dot airport code, this dot month num, this dot month last day, airport code, month num, month end, and then I need to pass it my linked list and my array adapter. So this was called, what was my linked list called? LL, and the array adapter was AA, and then ADT.start. I think we did the set priority thing before too. ADT.set priority to thread.max priority. All right, so here's our new constructor for our airport destination thread that takes two additional pieces of information than it used to. We're not even checking cache. We're just going to this guy. He takes those two additional pieces of information. What does this guy say he's going to do with that? Well, he's going to build us a normal airport destination thread first. Then he's going to doctor up the cur date from and cur date to. And then ultimately, when he goes and builds our URL, he'll have the appropriate cur date from and cur date to in there, and he'll parse our screen just like he's always parsed the screen. All right, and since we're not doing anything with our intent stuff here, or with our itinerary rather, here's our on item click listener. So whenever we click on something to take us to the next screen, the screen we're going to have it take us to is our airport month detail activity. We're adding an extra for airport code. We're adding an extra for city name, but we do need to add the extras for those two other pieces of information. And that's what we had here. These two pieces of information. So every single time we hop from month detail screen to month detail screen, we're passing around those same two pieces of information about the whatever month button we clicked. So that's this guy here. So we'll put our extras there. So there's our month num and our month num and our month last day. Is that what I called them up here? Month num, month last day. So now we have all four of those pieces of information just like we had passed into this guy because we're calling the same guy again, right? We're creating an intent to go to airport month detail activity, which is just another version of the screen that we're currently on, airport month detail activity. So we need to make sure we pack our suitcase with all the same stuff that this guy's expecting from me over here.
Would it make sense with that month num and month last day to throw it in our singleton? Because we're going to be using it.
You could, since it doesn't change, that would be fine. Yeah, you could put it in your singleton. All right, so this now should be the working solution. All right, so I go to my airport list. I'll type in MKE, filter. Takes me to this screen. I've decided I want to select the month. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select, let's do December. What row? He didn't like the airport code. Did I call it airport code and city name? Oh, yeah, this was that thing with the my text view. So it actually is the airport TV. Remember the name was different? We need to make
TV2. Yep. Right there. ID airport TV2.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean that looks
No,
like
but
it's
the one down below is airport TV. Oh no, that should have been the same. Because you changed your text.
yeah, let's check this guy against activity airport month detail. Activity airport month detail. There's this guy. It's airport TV.
Did you have to message what you were doing last video?
Hold on a second. That's in here.
You could just delete the two off again.
No, this is just a variable name. That can be called whatever I want. But this guy, see, I wonder it's because I copied it. He gave he has like a weird breaking thing. I just need to change the name and that can change it back. But this would be fine. This is because I copied and pasted. So I come here. I'm just going to change it to airport TV, which is what it should be. And then here I can just go back to airport TV. Now it should have updated that r.id file, I believe. Select the month. I'll select December. So it's oh, hold on. I have to update my buttons for December and all those because I'm not passing the right thing yet. So month select activity, airport month detail activity. I am going to the right place. Well, right, but I said select month, and this screen should not have all these buttons on it, which was correct there. Let me check something here. Airport month detail activity. That's correct. Oh, I copied too much stuff. Here's my set content view. I'm overwriting my content view with the one with the buttons because again, it's a copy and paste issue. Remember I told you a long time ago, never copy and paste? All right.
I told us to always copy. So we didn't type it wrong.
No, I said always put this dot before it so you don't type it wrong. All right, now we should be in business. All right, we'll select month. We'll say December. Yeah, so here's the one without the buttons on it. Should populate. It's obviously not using cache. We should get an FLL in here for Fort Lauderdale. Does it really not give us Fort Lauderdale for December? Las Vegas is still taking us here. So it seems to be acting the way we want it to act, but I am interested. If I go here, and I'm starting from Milwaukee, and I'm choosing December. Maybe it just has bad data, or doesn't have real up-to-date data. Yeah, it doesn't. So the feature might be somewhat useless. Have you noticed if the destinations actually did change depending on time of year? Some of the places? Should not necessarily look. So there's definitely some of them changed. Okay. Yeah, let me look again. So maybe let's try January. Yeah, see, it's already passed, so it won't let me choose. Let's just do January 2020. I assume it's going to be the same thing. Really? Is Fort Lauderdale just not so just not updating for that? November? It's got to just be a Fort Lauderdale issue with this site. It's not giving me. Was Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, I don't know which conference was though.
Well, the only reason I'm looking for is I happen to fly that route often. And I fly it in December and January pretty often.
Not this year.
Not this year, not next year either.
I did it this year, actually. I flew to Fort Lauderdale in January this year. Actually,
It's not make sure
So you're saying
Yeah.
Which month are you saying? Is it like because it's past?
well, possibly. So let me try to force it. It won't let me select January 2019 here. So let me just force it up here. Is this worlds colliding? A break. Let's just.
Had one.
It's like kind of that time. I feel like we get one at 9.
Well, I feel like if we take a break now, by the time we come back, we'll pretty much be done. So let's just finish this off here, and then we'll we'll negotiate what your assignment is and stop early. Because stopping early now is equivalent to just taking a break and then coming back and then stopping, right?
Agree to your terms.
So, for this past week's homework, I created a whole new thread.
Yeah.
It's easy to see. If we go your route with how you're gonna go back to your complicated way of going, should I just go back and tweak the original thread instead of keeping the second one?
Well, I think so. So let's focus on a couple of things there. So I know I started doing it a more complicated way, then came back. But when you look at my airport destination thread, do you see how I did not actually have to change any of the screen scraping stuff? All we had to do was update this URL, and we did it by making 2 versions of this constructor. So does that make sense to everybody how we handled that? So what you did is you just had a separate thread that did the same stuff. You just, instead of having 2 constructors in one thread, you had a constructor this guy and a constructor this guy that took the information they needed, right? Either one's fine. The argument would be that you don't want to have duplication of code. So given the fact that all this crap is identical inside here, you probably just want to have one thread and change the variables you pass into it. That would be probably the appropriate thing to do.
Oh my god.
You could encapsulate it, couldn't you?
What's up?
Couldn't you encapsulate that?
Well, which part of it?
I mean, all the stuff that we're duplicating. Your constructor.
Throw it up in core or something like that?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, because in theory, we're gonna have eventually to do one for day, right? So that you can select month, day, even month, day, year.
Yeah.
And those would be separate.
Yeah, and you're right. I'm not sure that's necessarily, effectively is encapsulated right now inside of a run function. We would just pass constructors different inputs for those things if we wanted to be more granular with it. So I think what we'll do next week is change the flow a little bit. All right, so should we have a homework assignment? Or I have an alternative idea.
It's terrifying.
So I'm thinking instead of a homework assignment for next class, we have a quiz in class dealing with what we just did here. Something with our the solution to this week's homework the right way, the call it the easy way. We had a separate screen, so not going back the whole caching thing. So either something with me having 2 constructors that took in different pieces of information, or it could be something maybe with the multiple button, single function for multiple button thing. So something that we covered in class today. So make sure you understand what we did in class today, and I'll push this code so you have it. And so we'll do a short quiz at the beginning of class to replace the homework assignment. And I'll purposely make the quiz something that if you roughly followed what we did today, you should be able to do okay in it. Like, I won't ask you some trick question. It'll be a fairly straightforward question, but I want to force you to at least follow what we just did here in class and understand how the code currently works.
Deal.
Sound fair?
Yep.
But the easy way, right?
Huh?
The easy.
Yeah, the way we eventually did it, with 2 separate screens and that kind of stuff.
When I push it, it'll be that way.
Yeah, I'm going to push it right now.
Okay.
So when we do these quizzes, we just write them out pen and paper kind of.
I don't know. I might do it on Banner or on Blackboard, but for this, I'll probably write it out for class like this.
Do you I was gonna ask with like the midterm we took, is it okay if we pop open the clips to mess around and do stuff?
Yeah, I don't care.
I wasn't sure. I didn't do it, but I was like, it's easier than I clips open right now.
Yeah, because the time limit is what really limits you,
Mm-hmm.
anyways. But so let me push this, and then we'll just call it a.
Can we still tell John that he has a really hard homework assignment?
We should.
You're still recording.
Yeah, but he's not going to listen to this. He's lazy. Yeah, he won't listen to this. We'll skim it.
Like the one he listens to.
Solution for what homework assignment was this?
10.
Oh,
9, sorry. That's
well, I guess technically
week 10 quiz.
But I will be putting up a Bible homework for this week.
Yeah.
So you have to do Bible homework for this week.
So next week will we go over your more complicated way?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll add the new workflow in, and then we'll have a homework assignment based off of that.
And the buttons work the same way for both. The one thing for every button.
Correct, but you could have written that with 12 different functions.
Yes, but like it'll be applicable to both.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right, stop my recording.